Here we go. 5.
I'm ready. I'm gone. I'm
You're
live.
gone? You're live?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's do
so am
it.
I. It's a group thing.
Is it? Is it?
Is it? Well, hey everyone. Welcome back to Fast Charging with B&B. I am Bear,
And I'm Brian.
and we are back for the 67th episode of what the hell is going on in the world of EVs.
Yeah. I actually mentioned hydrogen in my thumbnail. So let's see if we have any topics about it. We might.
Oh, that's crazy. You talked about hydrogen. You're probably going
Uh
to
huh.
just, meh. Oh, we got another Hindenburg report, and there's hydrogen.
Oh. No, just footage from the actual Hindenburg.
Oh, they have some?
But if you want to hear some bad news, I do have some very fun bad news. You familiar with Mazda and their MX-30?
Not really. But yes,
Yeah, well, they sold 9 in January.
you know why that is? Because I think
No.
they measure their range in feet.
Yeah, you can. You can. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's about 50,000 feet. Yeah, it's down 73%. My question isn't who isn't buying it, but who is? Why
Yeah,
are why are you buying it?
I think these are people who are buying them are probably someone who walks into Mazda because they like Mazdas and go, "Hey, I wanted to get an electric car. I don't really know anything about them." Probably some very unknowledgeable people, uh, and they're walking in there and they're getting these cars. I don't know if they're selling them in the United States or if maybe they're selling more in Japan or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I know they're only for sale in California. And California has all the best, I mean, the most EV options, but this is just not one of them. I don't know how it makes the list at all. Yeah, so,
Did they? Well, that isn't that still more than like the lyric?
uh, yes, yes, it is. Um, another head scratcher is what that is.
Yeah, because there's no reason. I can't think of any reason why the lyric and the Hummer are not being produced massively. I saw another Hummer today. Guess what color it was?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it was white.
It sure was. Yep.
Wow. They announced that the Hummer SUV, not pickup, is
Hmm.
going to be entering production. So I look forward to seeing 8 of those ever as well.
Yeah, which is baffling that they're ready to just jump on into the SUV version when they can't even produce the pickup. But
Yeah.
I'm sure they
Yeah.
have a game plan.
So, yeah, I don't know if you heard this, but after the Tesla cut prices on the Models 3, Y, S, and X, Ford has cut their prices as well on the Mach-E.
Yes, they're hoping to keep up with Tesla a little bit, keep the excitement going that prices are dropping. They didn't drop them by a whole bunch, but I think this is always a good thing. And I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and GM said that we're not doing anything with touching prices. We're, we're just where they need to be. But if you lower the price on something that you're not creating, I don't really see it as being a big deal. Just saying.
Yeah. So an interesting thing was pointed out to me. I was at this very interesting meeting of the Northwest Tesla Group. So I got to meet Tesla Herbert, and Ellie in Space, and a bunch of other people. And at that meeting, one of the things that was pointed out, there was about 20 of us there, was that while the Lightning has a long wait if you order one on the configurator, you can find them in showrooms and just buy them.
Fact, true.
Wow.
I was at a dealership, surprise, surprise, a couple days ago. Actually, I was getting a repair, not buying something, but I was at a Ford dealership. They had two used Lightnings, and one of them they were asking 110,000 for both of them, and one of them, the story behind it was a guy had purchased it up in Utah. He had his wife drive it back to Phoenix, and for some reason it took her 2 days. And she blamed the truck. I blame her going in the wrong
Electrify
direction.
America?
Maybe
Oh,
electrify America, but no, maybe she went in the wrong direction. I don't know, but Utah to Phoenix, if you know your interstates in the Southwest, there's no direct line because there's no interstate that goes over the Grand Canyon, so you've got to go around it.
yeah.
So it does take you quite out of the way. And then now you're looking for Electrify America, and we all know how those work. They're hit and miss. Uh, I was actually starting to tell you about Electrify. Well, we'll save the Electrify America rant for maybe an Electrify America story.
You know what we should touch on? I forgot because it's not one of the slides. Just so everyone knows, March 1st, Tesla Investor Day, I will be there. Producer Jeff is going to be there as well. We are going to be having an event. So if you want to help me out with the planning committee, get in touch with me now because we're starting that planning committee. We're starting it today. And it's going to be, there's going to be the meet and greet again, but there's also going to be special guest speakers. There's going to be pizza and drinks. It is planned to be free again, unless something changes. And there may be a watch party held as well. So, yeah, let's...
A watch party? A watch?
Yeah.
What are you watching for?
For those of us who will not be getting in, and I assume that that's going to be me again. It's kind of a meme at this point. I would be there with the crowd. But if not, for anyone who can't get in, there would be a TV and a watch party there. And John wants to know, will Bear be joining me?
Probably not. If something amazing happens and I can find some time to step away from the Toro car rental business, I would like to. But as of right now, I will not be joining. So, but I will be promoting, and I will be there in some sort of weird spirit force.
We'll just bring a photo. We'll just put him on a T-shirt and wear it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. William points out that's a maybe. It is a maybe. If you guys really want him there, let him know. But we can move on from that. But yeah, if that's something you guys are interested in helping out with, let me know. Do you know Honda is going to start producing a hydrogen fuel cell system co-developed with General Motors?
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Um, I'm a little confused by this. I know GM and Toyota have worked together a lot. Toyota's got a lot more experience with hydrogen. Honda, I'm not sure what their experience is with it. I know that they have a few things, but GM in the past they said they fully vetted Nikola when they got on board with the hydrogen with them, and we saw how that worked out. Um, and then also, I'm a little dismayed at the annual sales targets of 2,000 by the middle of the decade and 60,000 by the end of the decade. It's not a lot.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. That's like Model S production. That's like,
That's almost lower.
yeah, and that's by 2030.
Yeah.
So my concern with an idea like that is if you don't hit critical mass, you can't get the infrastructure going in a way that's going to make it work. So
And that's true. But this is something that actually could do real well if you've got places that are going to be around the future hydrogen hubs that Nikola is building around the interstates. This could be something that works out because where are these people going to get their fuel? Well, that's just something that's going to help support Nikola and their hydrogen energy aspirations. So that could work out for them, but remains to be seen. And
I'm concerned with the size of that hydrogen tank. It is bulky. It's very large. And great, it's carbon overwrapped. That will help with the structural integrity in the unlikely
yeah.
event of a crash. But I don't
Hey,
know, man.
when you say things that's very large, you need to pause so I can throw in there. That's what she said. So if you could do that in the future, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I will
Uh,
do that.
so just for information for people that don't know about hydrogen tanks, the Nikola hydrogen tanks are bulletproof. They actually, to test them out, they shot them several times. And I forget with what gauge, but it was not a 22. It was a decent sized gauge. And they actually shot it to see how much impact it could take. And it did fairly well. So,
The
carbon,
Nikola tank is also not down at T-bone height. You know, it's up higher, right? Isn't it
No,
behind the cab?
well, it is behind the cab, but it's actually between the front wheels and
Oh,
the back
between the
wheels.
rails?
It's not between the wheels; it's on the outside.
Oh, the hydrogen is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I can't imagine anything going wrong with that.
Well, how's it any different than a gas tank?
It's filled with hydrogen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Gas is inflammable. My bad.
All right. All right. I'm sure this will go great. Uh,
I actually think that the gas tanks that are made out of aluminum and then sealed off at either end and they put a hole in it are probably a lot more susceptible to breaking than a hydrogen tank.
Big rigs generally run diesel, which has a very high flash point.
Did
But
you did you hear just 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was an accident on the I-10, diesel trucks slamming together. They crushed two cars in between them and fire everywhere. It did ignite the diesel. And I know you can throw a match into diesel, it's not going to ignite. But five people were killed in that accident. And if it's going to happen here, it's probably happening all over the place. Don't start defending ICE vehicles and saying that they don't explode.
it's very rare
Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah,
diesel. For
because
diesel, it's so rare it made the news. But all right.
I'm not going to say it made the news. I drove past it and then I looked
Oh,
it
I
up.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
like literally saw, oh, wow, that doesn't look good. And then read about it and go, ooh, that's awful.
That doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Do you know that Ford is deep into development and they're going to use smaller batteries? Jim Farley said the next generation electric full-size pickup is awesome during the latest earnings call.
I hear Chris Farley saying, awesome.
I did
Not
too. That was awesome. He really
by the way,
looks like his cousin.
yeah, this render looks like it should say like play school on the side or something like that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. Yeah.
So
It's
what do they mean by smaller batteries? Are they talking about less kilowatts, or are they going with a different design, like they're putting triple A's in, or
it's not entirely clear.
yeah? Because I'm interested because if they're going with smaller battery packs to reduce the cost, and obviously they will reduce the range, uh, not good because that goes back to like the Mazda MX-30, and they'll sell seven of them. So
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
need to figure out, and the EV maker that can figure out how to tow is going to win the truck wars. How to
I think there's a second path to victory. If you made, and I'm not joking, a 100-mile range pickup, cities could add it to their maintenance fleet, to their parks and rec fleet, because those guys are not going over 100 miles a day in most cases.
well, it's got to have real world 100 miles,
Well,
but
that's also true. That's also true.
yeah, I just think that there's so many people out there that tow. At least in my neck of the woods, towing is a big thing.
Yeah.
My community is kind of a horse community. There are people that have horses, neighbors have horses, and people across the street, and donkeys and weird shit like that. But people tow all the time here. And
Uh,
there's a lot of people that have an RV. If you have an RV and you're trying to tow, you're going to be like, all right, I can't get an EV pickup until they fix this problem. And it's a big market. Even if you're towing twice a year, if you have a 7,000 pound trailer, which is not big, then you're out of the market for an EV. The, the company that can figure out how to solve that problem is going to win the pickup truck wars.
So John's Touchpad asks, do you think the Nikola BEV weighs 29 tons? Seems very high to me.
I think it weighs 29,000 pounds. So,
That sounds a lot more accurate to me. There's no way it's 29 tons. So
no.
on this article, last thing I wanted to point out is he did say that the future platform will be radically simplified. Is there a problem with overcomplicating Ford EVs?
It's not even EVs. And I've mentioned this before. When you go onto the Ford website and you start to build and price your vehicle out, they have 4,000 different options, and
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
slows down the production line. Having tons of different models on a on a ICE Ford truck, you've got an XL, which is a work truck. You got an XLT. You've got a Lariat. You've got a Platinum. You've got a King Ranch. So you've got all those different trim levels, and that complicates things. So I'm not sure if he's just talking about cutting down the model lines and the thousands of different options. It's like one of those things. It's like a Rubik's cube. There's so many different combinations. There's thousands of different combinations that you could have any vehicle.
Well, Fail Trains pointed out that there's kilometers of overcomplication in the Mach-E. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about. Let's move on to the next story.
Oh, nice.
Ford,
Nice segue.
Ford Mustang Mach-E has a mile of wires that it doesn't need. And this isn't according to me or you. This is according to Ford.
Yeah. And I think Sandy Monroe did a video showing all the extra wires going through a Mach-E on the teardown. I think they did a teardown of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
his problem wasn't the wires, it was the cooling because they had a separate loop for everything, for the battery, for the HVAC, for the everything. Everything
yeah.
had its own system, and it added not just tons of weight, not just reduced tons of space that you now can't use, but also each system has gallons of its own fluid that adds a ton of more weight there.
And
So,
you're just destroying your power and your range.
yeah.
Now, if I remember correctly, they also looked into the wiring on that and saw that there was a lot of extra wiring. Just going to the battery pack, there was just different ways that they could have done things so that there was less wires in there.
Yeah. Farley said that Ford left about $2 billion of profit on the table.
I wish I had picked that up.
Yeah, I wish I was at that table.
Right.
But the problem is, Sandy Monroe is right next to the table. You could have just listened to him. I don't know.
hmm
But hey,
Well,
man.
and maybe they did, and they're like sitting there going, "Did you guys see this video? What the hell are we doing?" That's when those videos come out. There's got to be meetings going on, going, "We got to do better than this." I mean,
I
this is being put out on YouTube. How full of engineers we are.
Yeah, yeah. John Yent says Corey from Monroe and Associates said the same thing about the assembly line complications for all these variable models, and William pointed out somebody at Ford should be getting fired. And Jeff pointed out that Ford actually thanked Sandy. You saw that video where Jim Farley personally delivered Sandy's Lightning.
Yeah, yeah. Mark Pachotnik, I think, just learned about dealer yo-yo sales. You buy and trade in a car, take it home, dealer takes it back. Yeah, I forgot the name of the lawyer who does these videos on YouTube, but he just did a video the other day about yo-yo sales. Um, and you know what? It's a little bit off topic, but Ford will do it. All the dealerships do it, where they sell cars and they trick people into thinking that they've been financed, and they take the car back after days and weeks. And this has been going on for decades because I remember when worked at a dealership, they used to do that to people all day long. They would roll every car and then take them back. So, Mark, I do know what you're talking about, and it's an awful thing. And I don't know. I got no segue for that.
So I got a question real quick. Is anyone else hearing clipping on Bear's microphone? It seems like there's a little bit of a clipping on you, but we'll see. Two people pointed out that's Steve Leto from Leto Law.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
he
right.
is a hoot. I haven't watched him in a
Yes,
while. I gotta see what he's up to.
yeah. I'm subscribed, and I just had one pop up, maybe because of it was heard me talking about a dealership, so I got the good old dealership advertisement, and it came up. But I don't know. But we should just move on and talk about
Power through
Ford.
it. They
Ford pulled
lost
up.
money.
Yeah, they
They
lost money.
lost
Well,
money.
they missed their sales goal by 100,000 units.
That's
That's
crazy.
that's a big miss.
That's a
And
big
of
miss.
course, the stock tanked for a half a day and went back up because people still have faith in Ford. Um, I'm starting to lose faith in Ford, to be honest with you. I like the Mustang, the Mach-E. I'm still disappointed that I got taken on the range, but I'd like to see. more EVs and more cars. They still are not making cars. You can go into a Ford dealership and it's trucks and SUVs, and they still have no cars there. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that was a good decision.
Yeah. I still wonder about that. And they say, well, we weren't making much money on the little Focus and all those. It's like, right, but that's how you develop brand loyalty is by getting them in the door. Taco Bell used to be 24 hours. I'd go there in the middle of the night, and then it would make me go there again during the day. They're not open at night, so haven't been for 10, 20 years where I've lived. So I'd go to Jack
Yeah.
in the Box, and then I'd go to Jack in the Box during the day. So Ford lost 2 billion, nearly 20 billion off its prior year's profit.
Crazy. They made. Are they saying that they made 18 billion in 2021 and so 20 billion off?
I think that's the
That's
yes.
the math. That is a crazy swing. And
Especially considering how the stock is performing.
yeah, and you can't blame that on a supply chain.
No. Like it says here, they're blaming execution issues and how you keep a CEO when you've got execution issues that are costing you tens of billions of dollars. Guys, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I will tell you that dealership where I saw the two Lightnings at, the used Lightnings, there was a real shortage of vehicles on that lot also. Though I am seeing that at every dealership right now. Chevy, Toyota, Kia, they all have a shortage of cars right now.
A real quick one I just wanted to mention is Rich Rebuilds came up with a very silly idea. If your Samsung is flooded, what do? You throw it in a bag of rice. So he did that. He used 2 tons of rice and tried to dry out a Tesla, a soaking
Yeah,
wet Tesla.
that's not a Tesla.
Oh, what is it?
I thought it was an Audi.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't. I just thought, oh, yeah, you're right. It's an Audi. Yeah, it was fun. It
Yeah,
was fun. Did it work?
they pretended like it did, but there's no way that it did.
Right.
Um, oh, I hate that rice idea. I dunked my vapor into the Atlantic Ocean a couple weeks ago, just out of stupidity. And my wife's like, "Put it in some rice," like like we had any rice where we were in the prison, in the prison that we are in. Um, and I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. That's that is a myth. It is a bad idea." Now, the the Tidy Cats that might have had a better chance of working, but
Now,
no, don't do
the
this to your electronics,
the
please.
comment was made 2 tons of rice sounds very expensive. So this rice was all past sell by, illegal to sell for human consumption rice. And a lot of people pointed out, yeah, but it's still good. Right. But you can't sell it. So you can't give, it's past date, man. I don't know. I don't know. It was a gimmick. And I think we've given it more than enough attention.
No, let's keep talking about it. Okay,
MD
we
Hofsty
won't.
says, as an IT guy, rice is the most stupid thing out there. I mean, I like rice. I actually was cooking some the other day and I put in way too much water. So I threw it in a bag of old cell phones and it came out fine.
Oh God.
So, do you know that Mary
Did you
Leadership?
did you find that on like dad jokes or something?
Oh, I don't remember. I saw it a long time ago.
Okay.
Mary
So
Leadership has got a new way to lead. She's going the number one growing car company is going to the number one growing streaming service,
yeah.
Netflix, to feature electric cars from GM and others in programming.
Honestly, I'm not sure why this is news because I've seen this come up uh, in numerous articles. It's just a company paying for ad space on a TV show, and that happens all the time. You- I
It's
mean,
interesting because it's at the network level rather than the individual program level.
yeah. I'm glad they put a lyric on there. I was wondering what they look like.
So were the people who ordered them.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Are they gonna like, actually have that a lyric in the show? And if it's a comedy, they can talk about, "Wow, I've got a car that no one else has." Literally.
I told my friend once in college, I said, I've got a very rare Faith No More album. He said, well, really? Which one? I said, their newest. Because they were pretty much past their prime and nobody was buying them. So, Porsche, big electric SUV to cost 3 times more than a Cayenne. That's spicy.
I say, yeah. Well, why? Why is it costing so much more, Brian? Why?
I don't know. The prevailing theory I've seen is we're doing well up market. Let's stay all the way up market.
Ooh.
I gotta tell you, it is a render. I'm confident. I believe it's a render. Maybe not. Those back seats look awfully well illuminated for a photograph, but it could be. Porsche design for for a crossover SUV. This is a good form factor. This is a good looking shape.
7 seats.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Yeah.
I believe it's 7.
Well, I mean, I imagine you could get it in both. Is what I mean.
Oh, yes, of course. So,
Yeah.
I still don't get the. Maybe they're looking at the Lucid Air and going, well, if they can sell cars at this price, but we still don't know if they can actually sell cars at that price.
It appears they're having difficulty. It appears they may have scaled back on their parts orders for Q1 and into Q2. I have it on good authority. But we'll see. Yeah, because a Cayenne starts around 72,000. So this would be what, 216,000 base?
Ouch.
I mean, fine. Hey, if you can sell them, by all means, go for it. But that seems rich. And yeah, as Failtrain points out, 435 miles of range on the WLTP cycle. And don't get hung up that is the wrong cycle, the most generous one. Porsche understated their range on the Taycan, so it could actually be 435 miles. We don't know.
That is true. That is true. That they are the one company that likes to underestimate.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of fun.
So is anything going on with Nissan?
So the short answer is no, but the longer answer is no. The Nissan Max Out EV concept is the electric roadster we've dreamed about. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had some pretty wild dreams too, and just like my weird dreams, this ain't gonna happen.
All right. That grill is an exact copy of a 67 Camaro RS grill. Google it right now. That is the exact grill.
All right, 67 Camaro RS. Oh yeah, look at that.
Uh-huh.
Sure is.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this and going, this kind of has a 60s vibe to it. And then I just saw the grill and was like, well, that's where I've seen that. And
Yeah.
from the 60s. Now, the rest of the car, that windshield is not meeting any safety requirements I've ever seen.
No, the whole thing is. What odds are you going to put on this happening?
I will bet anyone 1,000 to 1 odds.
I was going to say 1,000 to 1 too.
Yeah.
It is not happening. It is not happening. Also, I'm not a gambling man, but even still,
I don't want to be one.
no. Other pictures, it's terrible from all sides. I love it.
Yeah, it
This
really is.
this would be. I can't even think of the movie that they would use this in. They don't even make movies that have cars like this. But all
Tron.
right. No,
Maybe.
I mean, no.
No, got rejected from Tron.
Yeah. Yeah. John Knapp says, so you're saying there's a chance. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It does look like Hot Wheels. That's right. That's right. RoboCop. Yeah, but they're not making RoboCop is the thing. So did you
No.
hear that the Inflation Reduction Act provides some money for batteries and that it appears to be working?
It's flying just a little bit, though, right?
Well, companies announced more than $73 billion in planned U.S. battery plants in 2022 alone.
Yeah, that is actually a fantastic investment. Um, as much as I'm not big on government getting their hands into these things, I think the rules that they put down are really taking positive effect. and moving all these battery plants to the US and keeping all this inside. I like it. I do like
Yeah.
that. Um,
Yeah.
and this each you want to talk about the battery credit? That's 35, what is it? $35 for every kilowatt?
Yes, and that is, at the high end. That is if you're making the cell and the pack, and there might be an additional if you're mining the minerals as well. There's still some ambiguity on how that's going to work, but when it comes to if you're Ford and you have a partnership with SK Innovations to make your batteries, whether they're taking half of the credit or all of the, or you are, in either case, that money is still coming back on the producer side for a factory making batteries in the U.S.
Hmm. Yes. So, and there are battery factories popping up everywhere, which reminds me, I need to take a look and see where the LG factory that's supposed to pop up in my town was supposed to happen, but then didn't or
Yeah.
delayed. But yeah, they're just on in everyone's small town. There's a battery plant popping
Yeah,
up.
a $100 million battery plant, a $500 million battery plant, and they are
Yes,
going in kind of everywhere.
yes, and it's fantastic that they're going in everywhere. Also, because it helps with the logistics of getting these batteries shipped around the country. You save on shipping costs. You're
Yeah,
spreading the jobs and the wealth around
yeah.
to everybody that wants it. I mean, Montana obviously doesn't want it, but
And
that
also, it will diversifying the supply chain is always a good idea. If there's a natural disaster or a flood or a fire in one place, the other places are still producing, and that's what we need. It's scary when we realize that certain chips are only made in one factory in one place in the world, and a lot of companies did not have a plan to work around them if that factory burned, which in the case of a Taiwan semiconductor plant, it did a couple years ago.
yeah. And Taiwan is also in a volatile part of the world where you
Yeah.
never know when China and Taiwan are finally going to put up fists and start duking it out. And I could see China just going after that factory, going, you know, just to say, we're going to go after the factory if you guys support Taiwan the way you're supported Ukraine. And that could, that has a huge effect on the entire world economy if they, people go like, all right, well, forget about all the lives. We don't want that factory to be bombed.
Two interesting points were brought up. MD Hofsty says Taiwan Semiconductor also had the issue of a drought that interfered with production, and Failtrains pointed out that chip fabs take a long time to spin up.
They
Yeah,
do.
you can't just slap it up and be done. It takes years.
Have you ever been in a chip factory?
No.
Okay. I had the pleasure of going into one. I had a tour of Intel. My neighbor worked at Intel and took me through the massive factory that they have on in Chandler, Arizona, which, by the way, is much like the Winchester House because when he took me in, there was almost 30 years ago, and they're still building it. They're still just putting on new sections and probably with
It's
doors that
the
go to
only way to
nowhere.
it's the only way to keep the ghosts out. That's established
Yeah,
technology. Move on.
that is true because you are the founder of the Winchester gun. But
Right.
that, or the chip that went and killed people. I guess it's not very dissimilar. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, but in any case, very complex these factories are, extremely complex, and a lot of regulation behind it. There's a lot of very harsh chemicals. They use arsenic and stuff like that that you didn't ever would think is in our everyday products. But they just make these wafers that are, these little, they look like a little bit bigger than like 45s, the old records.
Right.
And they literally have tiny little chips on each one. They cut them out. And it was very interesting. And I've been in other chip factories, but never really got a good tour like that. I've been in ones at Motorola, clean rooms. There's just so much involved in them. You just can't snap your fingers and start a chip factory in your garage.
Yeah.
You could start a computer company in your garage. That works.
Yeah. Yeah. I can start a YouTube channel in my garage.
Or your workshop, or your attic.
It's a carriage house.
Okay. Does that mean it moves?
Huh?
Does that mean it moves?
No. No. So, another bit of tax incentive update. Treasury has updated the vehicle classification standards for the clean tax credit. So, you remember how there was a lot of confusion. Certain ID4s had a $55,000 cap, others 80. Certain Teslas had the 55, others 80. What was the difference? And there was a meeting held at the White House. Elon went to. It wasn't with the president. It was with his staff, as far as we can tell. And it is my belief that he talked some sense into them and said, look, you can use the EPA standard. Why don't you use the CAFE standard? Instead of the CAFE, use the fuel economy standard. And that just fixes it.
They should change the name of that standard to the bullshit standard, because none of those have ever been accurate.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I don't know how the system is so dumb that none of them. I've never gotten nameplate efficiency.
Never, absolutely never. I 100% agree with you.
My mom loved to hypermile in her '86 Civic, and she would get very close to it, but she would never get the actual stated efficiency.
You know what? It is funny because I was doing that in the Corvette last week, and just trying to reset the mileage thing, and the Corvette will switch to V4 when it's on the highway at about 70 miles per hour, and I'm getting like 40 miles to the gallon. I mean, it takes all the fun out of the car, but when you do that hypermiling thing, it takes all the fun out of driving whatsoever.
It sure does. Well, and she would keep the windows rolled up, and she didn't have AC, so that was also quite pleasant.
Is that how she died?
No, riddled with cancer. So there you go.
From breathing the fumes because she didn't have the windows open.
Yeah, that's probably it.
All right,
so.
sorry.
Oh, no. She's in a better place now. She loves the heat. So BMW owner has discovered that...
Awful. You're awful.
I'm not the one in hell. BMW owner discovers that the car...
What are you going to say when you get there and she sees you? I saw what you said about me.
I was right. I don't know.
True. All right, let's go to BMW. Speaking of
BMW owner discovers car's software update won't install when he's parked on an incline.
Oh my God! Do you ever watch Wham Bam Tesla Cam? Because another feature of BMWs is they don't come with turn signals. So
they do. They're just decorative.
They're decorative.
You know, it's like the grill on the electric BMW. It doesn't do anything. No, I had a BMW. And one of the problems I had was one time I had this warning light on my dash that was like flashing and making this noise. And it was just going for like... The what?
It was the turn signal.
I don't think that's right.
No. You see, when you get into BMW, things get foggy. It was.
That must be.
Was there the warning sign? It was a green arrow, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a little green arrow that pointed to one side. Yeah, that's right. How did you know that?
I think
and it went
I think there's some sort of brainwashing that goes on. Yeah. As soon as you step in. See, I've never owned a BMW. Never.
Oh. Yeah. Mine was a convertible 3 Series. Very fun.
Yes. I've got some sort of immunity.
But not everyone is struggling with their over-the-air updates. Did you know Volkswagen recalls...
Wait. We really don't want to touch the fact that this thing won't update on a hill? We don't even want to make a guess why that will happen?
Let's hear it. The parking too steep?
How could it be too steep? It doesn't make sense. Maybe a software upgrade, they thought it was uphill. I don't know. How could that happen? Is that what this thing actually says here? The road is too steep to start the installation. Please park the vehicle on level ground.
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody actually in Germany was typing that out and going, oh, this sounds good. We put this in here.
Yeah. Jeff Songster suggests maybe the parking brake is electronic and it gets recycled, like reset in a like it power cycles and resets, and maybe it would just roll. But I think that would be a pretty serious safety concern, regardless of incline. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's actually a good theory that maybe something is getting disengaged and it needs to be on a flat surface. But yeah, it still sounds like that sounds like something you need to bring it into the shop for. Because this update may cause your car to accidentally roll away.
And remind me, that's a bad thing? Right. Volkswagen recalls, fondly, almost 21,000 ID4s for a software fix. So yeah, it's just battery management and pulse inverter control modules.
So just
No
that.
big, no big deal. No big deal. And the ID4 does have over-the-air updates.
Sounds like a plan. Bring them in. No, wait. Over-the-air
Wait, what?
updates.
No, not for this one. No, for this one, this fix will be performed at dealerships. So, good work.
Shame.
Shame.
Shame. I want to throw tomatoes at you and scream shame.
Yeah. Guys, they're starting to understand just how complicated this is, and are buyers understanding how far behind everyone is when it comes to the software?
No, because they're not watching this video. So I
Wait,
think
they're not?
No.
Well, I've got 45 viewers right now. How many people do you think there are?
Well, I've got 25, and I bet some of them are being really weird and watching both at the same time to see who
There are
produces
people who
better.
do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Besides you. So how many people are on this planet? Yeah, we're not quite getting the reach that we want.
I don't know.
If you guys
I don't know.
want to make
No
sure
one-
you hit the like button,
No one
on
knows.
both of
It's
our
impossible to know.
somebody. I'm going to Google it.
No,
later
I'm going to
if I
say it's
remember.
probably it's probably more than 100, but I don't know.
I once heard it's around 1,000, but we need to move on. We're here to talk about horrible EV. I'm sorry. We're here to talk about EVs in the news. Can't
Do you know,
lose focus.
Electrify America is raising its charging prices.
Oh,
by up
God,
to
now we're going to be
25%.
complaining again. Here we go. 25%. That just goes right back to the expression of why pay more for less.
Yeah. 43 cents, but from March it will be 48 cents. Not a big change, only 5 cents. But when driving across the country, it adds up.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. So my Electrify America issue last week was I had a Polestar that finished a trip at 9 a.m. and had to go back out at 6 p.m. And the person was nice enough to leave it with 20% charge. So I've got to charge it up. So I wanted to go to my nearest Electrify America station, which is only like 5 miles away from Sky Harbor International Airport, which in Phoenix, our airport's like right in the middle of the city. We don't put it on the outskirts. It's like smack dab in the middle. So I'm going from the center of Phoenix. I need to get to Electrify America, 5 miles away, no problem. Closed for construction. No updates on when. It certainly wasn't going to be within the next hour of that time. So I had to drive about another 10 or 12 miles further to get to the next Electrify America. There is nothing from the center of Phoenix, nothing within, I'm going to say, about 15 miles of the airport that could do level 3 charging, or level 2, to be honest.
That's painful.
That is not good. That is not good at all. So, and then it took me about an hour to charge the car, by the way, at 150 kilowatts.
Yeah.
This still needs to be massively improved in order for EV adoption to make it past the breaking point where it's just going to be unstoppable.
So incidentally, when I was at Fully Charged in San Diego, I did get to meet one of the guys from Electrify America, who is now going to be the CEO. He's been promoted. That's on the next one there. Electrify America taps.
You got an in.
Yeah. Taps new CEO as current chief becomes the Electrify America chairman and VW Group executive. So the guy who was in charge has gone, shall we just say, back to Volkswagen? Because Electrify America was Volkswagen's little
It,
consolation prize.
it,
Their whoopsie doopsie for Dieselgate.
do you him getting to go back to VW? It's almost like he served time for like something that he did.
Yes, he's completed his penance.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's horrible.
Yeah, they moved him to a different parish.
Yeah, but on the bright side, this article does talk about the travel centers announcing 1,000 EA fast chargers, which we talked about last week, which is good because it just goes back to my complaint from 30 seconds ago is that we need more chargers, and hopefully that construction at the charging site that was closed, hopefully we're going to get some sort of fantastic upgrade, even though there were a couple 350 kilowatt chargers there already. So I don't know what their plans are. But
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Maybe this guy can point things in another direction. Obviously, he's aware of the problems where they uh, are pretty much made by individuals in their garage. And
Yes. Yeah. All hey, if you're a contractor and you want to cobble them together and you're cheap, you don't have to be good.
yeah, well,
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, JJ, but we've run out of time with only 13 minutes left to go.
is JJ on your chat?
I don't know. I don't know. He was earlier, I think. Yeah, he was earlier. I don't
Yeah,
know. He might drop out early sometimes, but we'll
he,
find
he
out.
he tends to do that, but I feel like he's become a traitor of some sort to me. He he used to kind of just hate you, and now he always shows up on your side.
So Nikola wins early dismissal of investors' security lawsuit. Judges dismissed the claim. Now, I'm not going to log in or create an account or pay money to see a Bloomberg Law uh, article. You get the gist. You've got some insight on this. Talk to me.
This is very similar to Elon Musk's trial, which also he was just found innocent of just a week or so ago. It's investors saying that they lost billions of dollars because of something that was said and done. Now, I do see a difference in the fact that Trevor Milton did really kind of make up some crap, and I don't think Musk made up that crap. I think he had the funding secured. But the problem is these investors who are suing have to prove that that this caused their loss, and it's something that's very difficult to prove. And because of that, this was dismissed for Nikola, it was dismissed for Tesla, and the world is moving on.
Why don't we do the same? Did you
Oh,
hear
nice
that?
segue.
Did you hear that the Tray FCEV has received CARB HPV incentive eligibility?
Yeah, that sounds like a disease, HVIP. But yes, they did get that, and that was announced this morning. And it's just going to basically throw money at the truck, uh, anywhere from 240 to $288,000 per truck, which is a phenomenal amount of money. So that is really good. The next thing that Nikola is looking for is they are going to be looking for the $1.4 billion from the federal government for their hydrogen facilities, which I think it's kind of like a no-brainer. They're going to get it. They've passed through several levels of the approval so far. So they're going to be reining in the billions.
And by the
To
way, that 240 to 288 is in addition to the 40,000 from the IRA. So it's
Yes.
actually 280 to 328. So that's
Yeah, based on the cost of this truck, I may just buy one. Just park it in
right,
the yard, make it some
right.
lawn art. Thanks, Nicola. Just trying to do what I can to help you guys. Now the price of the truck is still going to be pretty high. I've heard estimates that this truck is going to be as high as $1 million. I don't, I can't see it being that much. And if it is, that might include the entire contract for maintenance and fuel
Wow,
for the life of the vehicle. So
wow. Ah, I did have a question that I wanted to address. Somebody had asked about is there any developments on the hydrogen infrastructure in the USA or in Europe/Asia? That was William asked that, and I have not heard. I have not heard. Have you heard anything about infrastructure developments that would be relevant?
the Nikola has three hubs that are going up in California along the I-10.
Hmm?
Those are supposedly under construction. I don't remember which cities off the top of my head that they are in. Plus, they have the 12 LLCs that are each going to be their own individual hydrogen station, we believe, around Arizona. They're all called Phoenix Hydrogen Hub LLC, something along that line. And then there's 12 different ones of those. And that is in conjunction with TC Energy out of Canada. And TC Energy's main thing is they are a hydrogen pipeline supplier. So they will be able, they're very fluent in creating oil pipelines and other types of pipelines to move energy resources around. So they are skilled in that, and they're going to bring a lot of knowledge to the
Are they the
table.
ones who are also working to develop the retrofit for existing natural gas, or maybe it wasn't natural gas, but it might have been some other kind of gas pipeline?
It's very possible.
I
They're
think
in
it
a
is.
lot of things. They're also working with Plug Power. They've teamed up with them. So
JJ's losing his mind. He keeps putting in Hyla. I don't know what that is. Do you?
it sounds like something a Nazi would say. Are we? Are we?
Hail, Hail Hydra.
Hell Hydra.
Uh,
That's what I see when I see Hyla, which is not great. But
it's not
hydrogen
bad.
is hydrogen, and then the two last letters of Nikola, Hyla. Um, that's where that comes from. So that is a new brand that Nikola has, and it's pretty much going to be their energy brand uh, for distributing hydrogen and the distribution, the creation of the fuel and the energy. And
Scott Scott points out that the oil industry is trying to push hydrogen to the car companies like a parent pushing broccoli to their kids. Yes. Yeah.
that's well thought out. I think that's true. I think because the energy companies can supply hydrogen where they can't supply electricity, so they can mine,
Yeah.
drill, create hydrogen, and they're just not into the whole electricity thing. So I think they're trying to make themselves valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. Nigel says hydrogen already failed in Norway. We saw hydrogen stations are being removed in different parts of Scandinavia. I believe in Denmark they're also retreating. So, yeah. Anything else you wanted to say about Hyla?
Hyla. Yeah, well, they do have some Hyla branded hydrogen stations over at the Nikola site. There is one there. You get and this is a mobile hydrogen station. So they bring in something that's about a half the size of a tractor trailer, and it has all the machinery and equipment to make hydrogen and then store it in tanks that comes on another trailer. That's about 40-foot tanks, this cylindrical tanks that are stacked up like hot dogs. It's the best way to just white hot dogs,
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
Okay, and it creates the hydrogen, stores it in the tanks until the trucks that need it come by, fill up, and then it just continues doing what it does.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So they already have a product out for Hyla.
And because we have almost twice as many viewers as we did when I announced it before, I am going to be at the Investor Day in Texas on March 1st. If you're interested in helping helping me out, getting that planned and coordinated, connect with me. Leave me a comment or something. Find a way. There are ways to reach me. I'm also on Twitter at 4K Podcast. You know,
Just
yeah,
just PM me after if you want his home address,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
so you can
yeah,
contact him. I'll hook you up.
yeah, yeah. Uh, you ever heard of a company called Vanderhall?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
Well, yes, I have. I have a Vanderhall Venice. It's very similar to the Santa Rosa, except that my Vanderhall Venice is gas powered, and this is not. This is electric powered. These
And
cars
look at
are
that.
these cars
180
are
horsepower. Oh, on something that small.
Yeah, they are so much fun. Uh, the the gas version has, I think, it's 180 horsepower also, and it goes 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. They're talking to this one 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds, and these cars are so much fun. The Venice is a little bit different. I'm not sure if I really like the nose on the Santa Rosa, but I like the fact that it has a roof, it has doors, and it's a cool looking car. And I already know it's funner than, I don't know, Brian, you fill in the blank there.
It has a roof.
A roof option. Click on the Santa Rosa GTS.
All right. Okay. I don't
And,
know how to do that.
I don't know what you're looking at.
Well, click on Santa Rosa again.
You should have three different model
Oh, I
choices.
see.
Yeah,
I see.
GTS, the GT, and then the standard. Now, the Venice had similar models, the standard, the GT, and the GTS, all adding more features as you went higher. Uh, and the price range on that was started from 30 to about 40 as you added options. I imagine this is going to probably start about 35 because Vanderhall, this is not their first electric vehicle. Did you know that?
No.
They had a similar vehicle like this, which was kind of like a test case, and they put it out there for a little bit, and it sold for about 35,000. Range was only in the 100-mile range, but it sold out. People bought them, and then they went back to the drawing board and they created this. They also have a monster called the Brawley. If you click on Vanderhall,
Mm-hmm. Under
uh,
is it under concepts?
uh,
Oh, Brawley. There it is.
yeah, it's right there.
Ooh, I like that.
That is similar to like a Polaris Razor or a Can-Am. It's an off-road vehicle, and I honestly don't know if they've actually produced any of these yet. Uh, because they're off-road only, it didn't make my bucket list, but I think their range was also about 100 miles on that Brawley.
JJ says, Brian, stop trying to make Arcimoto happen. It's not going to happen. So I may have told you I have one share remaining of Arcimoto, and it turns out I don't. I have 1/5 of a share or a quarter of a share because they did a reverse merger. So that's unfortunate.
So what did that bring the price value up to of the stock?
Not much. Like the reverse merger, I want to say made it 40 cents. It's
Okay.
bad. It's bad. They are absolutely on the ropes. They are absolutely yeah.
Well,
Brian
that's
thought
too bad.
Arcimoto was a better investment than Nikola. I also sold my Arcimoto shares, so I have probably lost. I've lost less money on Arcimoto than some have on Nikola.
Oh, by the way, Deeps is up on here saying that the Vanderhalls are a death wish. They're a rolling coffin. You know what? They're a little bit safer than a motorcycle, and I don't see you say anything about people riding motorcycles all day. At least you got a seatbelt in this.
Well, and he may be someone who's also critical of motorcycles.
Maybe he is.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't
And,
know.
and and maybe I will die in a Vanderhall crash, and I hope that's not the case. But if I do, I hope I'm like 90 and I'm still driving the thing.
William would like to know if you can comment on what you think this year's Nikola delivery and production numbers will be. Before that, Nigel wants to know where's Vanderhall made?
Utah,
Utah.
Utah.
Okay, so production and delivery
I
for
love it when you
Nikola.
ask me questions that I know the answer to, unlike the Nikola production numbers, which
Yeah.
I do not know the answer to. I think it's going to be lower than expectations because I think they held back. Either they held back, or 'cause I know they held back on production. They were capable of producing them, but they're holding back because of their battery pack casting issue, as far as getting the cost down. The
Oh.
more that they produce, the more that it would cost them. So it made sense to not just put out
Oh.
crap loads of them.
There was a
That
sweet spot, is what you're saying, in terms
there.
of production efficiency.
Um, yes and no. I think the sweet spot was one thing was investors wanted to see production, so they still produced some, but I think they put out a lot of the fuel cells and they focused more heavily on that. I think that we're going to hear them talk about that. then the focus was on that as opposed to producing the BEVs, which have 6 battery packs each that they were paying too much for
Mm.
because the Romeo Power people lied and didn't mention that they were selling them to Nikola super under cost. Uh, so Nikola was under the impression that these battery packs cost less than they actually did, and then once they took over Romeo, they found out that each truck, since they now own Romeo, is going to cost them a whole lot more than
That's. Mm.
yeah. So
Uh-huh.
I know they're on the last earnings report they're saying that they're working on a fix for it. They've got to make it, validate it, test it, and do all those things, and that's going to delay uh, the cost savings that they thought that they were going to have from acquiring Romeo. So I think our production numbers are going to be around 240 for the year, 240-ish. I'm not going to give an exact number, even though I did on the last earnings report nail earnings down to the penny. I'm not going to do that again. That was luck. Uh, but yeah, I think we're going to look at production 240, deliveries a lot less because we know that there was a lot of trucks sitting in their lot at the end of the year, close to 100 that they did not deliver. And we are starting to see trucks disappearing from there because there is an infrastructure problem to get these trucks charged, and then there was the tax credits that they're waiting on, and they also have probably 20 mobile charging trailers sitting at the site waiting for delivery also. So we are just kind of waiting to see what happens with all that.
We did get a question from William, maybe, saying, what's going on with Lucid? And the answer is they're struggling. Their cars cost too much, and their buyers are. The number of people interested in buying that car at that price appears to be diminishing quicker than they had hoped, and their ability to reduce production costs, I don't believe, is going to be meaningfully impacted until the new building is done and outfitted. What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what is going on with the problem with getting these cars delivered. Uh, right now, we're probably looking at 1,500 or so cars sitting in the southeast parking lot, another 200 to 300 sitting right outside of the berthing canal of where the cars come out. But why are these cars sitting here? We are seeing car haulers taking them away. I don't, I can't tell you why they can't get them delivered. There's some conjecture that they're going to Saudi Arabia in July. I don't believe that. Um, I think a lot of those cars that we are seeing in the lot, in the big lot with the 1,500 cars, they are getting rotated in and out. We're seeing the cars being delivered over there, then they take some back. Those cars are getting put onto the car hauler and taken away. So that being said, uh, I, they're getting the cars out, but they say that there's a logistical problem getting the cars through their PDI and then onto trailers and gone. So it doesn't seem to
Maybe.
make sense, the Saudi Arabia part, because why would you put $250 million worth of inventory in the parking lot and let it sit there for 6 months?
Yeah. Jeff says maybe a missing part, like the customer. Hey, we do have one more company I wanted to talk about real quick before we go. Rivian orders placed after the 20% price hike appear to be jumping the line, angering early order holders.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Well, they had 6% layoffs. They laid off 6% of their workforce, a week ago. It's their Rivian is far from dead, but they're concerned. They're concerned.
Yeah, but that's still messed up to
Oh, for sure.
yeah. Um, I'd be pretty peeved, and
I would.
I
Yeah.
it's not a good customer experience, and it's almost like they want those people to cancel.
If I risked my money on a deposit on a vehicle that may or may not ever come, I really do want it first.
Yeah,
Lockbird asked, by the way, Ohio. I think that's Lily May
that is
talking
Lily
about,
May.
I don't know, Akron, maybe Aurora. I'm not sure, but somewhere.
Northeast Ohio.
Somewhere up there. Who
We're
knows?
assuming that's what that means because that's what we
I
always thought it
assume
was.
that's what it means.
Unless he means Neo, I-O.
I do regularly when she'll post that. YouTube will be like, "Do you want me to try and translate this?" I should say yes sometime and see what it says. So, yeah. So anyway, that's Rivian. We are over time. I did want to thank Bear for hanging out with me. I want to thank all you crazy fools for wasting so much of your beautiful day on such a wonderful program. Mine.
All right. Well, I'm going to thank Brian's Patreons for putting up with him and for donating to him. You guys are awesome. It, I love people who give to charity. So that's what I'm expressing my emotions for.
I am absolutely a charity case.
Yes.
That is not a misunderstanding.
Yes. And
Yeah.
my Patreons are great also because you want to talk about charity. It's right here. I need it, but don't expect it.
Yeah. So, what did we misunderstand? All that good stuff. And, yeah, Bear, I look forward to chatting with you next week, I suppose.
Pose. I'll be back here and we'll go over the articles that you pick out that I forgot to.
Yeah. So I've got my trips coming up, a few of them this year. I'll have to lean on you a bit more to get some. Let's see, at the end of the month, the 28th, I'm going to be out of town for that. So we'll have to pre-tape that one.
Yeah, we are screwed.
Oh,
Well, I only say that because you're going to rely on me, but
yeah.
I'll have to step up for a change.
It'll be fun. We always do good work on those. I do
Yeah.
anyway. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Bear.
All right. Thanks everyone for being here. We'll see you next week.